thought I would show you what I eat in a day, not because I've lost a ton of weight or I'm some fitness model and just want to show you how I did it, although eating like this has helped me lose some weight, but mostly because I want to show you how a busy, lazy mom can easily stay keto while keeping total carbs less than 20 grams a day. Because I'm a real person, I don't wake up looking like a supermodel, nor do I spend the first 15 minutes meditating or writing in a journal. I do read, but it's usually the status updates on Facebook. The only not normal thing that I do is sleep with my feet on a grounding mat. It has a similar effect to putting your bare feet on the earth outside. The idea behind a grounding mat is that it helps neutralize those reactive oxygen species that cause inflammation by supplying the body with electrons similar to what antioxidants do. There's growing research to support this, and most practitioners are starting to recommend it as an add-on therapy to help with sleep, anxiety, and inflammation. I've noticed better sleep since I started using one, and I even started dreaming again immediately after using it. I used to require food first thing in the morning before I was keto, but since living a low-carb lifestyle, I'm never hungry first thing in the morning, but I do need coffee. Before I had kids, I preferred my coffee black. Those weasels somehow messed up my taste buds, and now I can only drink it with cream. I usually try and stay away from too much dairy and heavy whipping cream in my coffee because it has a lot of fat and calories in it for the amount that I like to pour in to get that certain color. So I use nut milk creamer instead. This one has 0 carbs per tablespoon. I'm not sure if that's true after I pour about 1/4 cup in, but I like to pretend it doesn't count. The first few hours of my day working upstairs in my office, scheduling out social media posts, looking at urgent emails, and writing my to-do list. Then I head down into our garage gym to get my workout in for the day. Right now I'm focusing on a mix of resistance training, balance, and mobility work 4 to 5 days a week for around 45 minutes at a time. After I work out, I like to have protein to help replenish and build new muscle. Sometimes it's a protein shake, but I don't like how all the non-dairy protein powders have so many extra carbs in them. So what I like to do instead is have bone broth. I really like using Dr.KellyAnn's bone broth because I'm getting 16 grams of protein and less than 1 gram of carb per serving. Since it's rich in grass-fed bovine collagen, it's a great way to get all those nutrients I need after a workout. Sure, I could make my own, but instead of putting in the effort to make bone broth from scratch, I find it's much more convenient to use these packets of Dr.KellyAnn's bone broth. They're great for on the go because each box includes 7 individual packets. So if I have to be somewhere after my workout, all I have to do is add 8 to 12 ounces in a mug of hot water plus a packet of bone broth, add it in, and I'm on my way. But today I have time, so I'm gonna jazz it up a bit. Take my packet of bone broth and add it in. Pour in the hot water. This time I'm just using 6 ounces. I like it creamy, so I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of coconut milk, a splash of lime juice. The citrus helps to enhance that umami flavor of the broth, making it even more savory. Lemon does this too. That's why a lot of people like to add a squeeze of lemon to their finished bone broth. Then a small handful of fresh cilantro. Each of these packets already has 225 milligrams of sodium, but I like to add a pinch more Himalayan salt just for extra luck. I like using my blender because it minces up the cilantro so I don't get chunks of green in my teeth. But it also makes it extra frothy, just like a latte. Love the lime and cilantro in this. So tasty and the perfect alternative to traditional protein shakes. Usually around 30 to 60 minutes after my bone broth, I'll have a real meal for the day. Today I was craving oatmeal, which obviously I can't have because a half a cup of oats is around 27 grams of carbs. Instead, I'm making keto oatmeal. This recipe doesn't use any oats, so it's not really oatmeal. Some call it note meal. Weird name. But it also doesn't use nuts, almond flour, coconut flour, flax seeds, or hemp hearts, or tons of chia seeds either, like some other recipes do. And it's still thick and creamy and takes less than 10 minutes to make. I do use some chia seeds, but only a teaspoon. I find that if I add too many chia seeds, it upsets my stomach. I grind them with my mortar and pestle, left over from my days as a pharmacist. Just kidding, I think I got this one off of Amazon. Breaking up those chia seeds releases their thickening power, so don't skip this step. To mimic those chunks of rolled oats found in oatmeal, I'm using cauliflower rice. Because if there's one thing that I've learned about keto, it's that cauliflower can replace pretty much anything. Not that it always should, but it really does work in this case. And I really can't taste that there's cauliflower in there, but that's because I have a couple of tricks to help with that. First is to cook the moisture out of the frozen cauliflower by sauteing it in a dry saucepan. Don't microwave, boil, or steam it first, just add it to the pan, and once it starts to look dry, then you're gonna add in your crushed chia seeds and a half a cup of your favorite keto milk. Once it starts to simmer, lower the heat to a low heat, then add in 1 beaten egg to the mix. I know this is getting strange, but trust me, this is going to help thicken the oatmeal further, plus it adds protein and it helps neutralize the flavor from that cauliflower. Stir this often over around 5 to 8 minutes or just until the mixture has thickened. I think my mixture might have been a little bit too hot because the egg started to curdle, but that's okay, it doesn't matter, it still tastes great, it still does the job of thickening it as well. Then we add in some coconut oil for healthy fats, low carb protein powder, you can use one that's dairy free if you need, cinnamon, a pinch of salt for good luck, and your sweetener of choice. I'm using stevia because it has 0 total carbs. This is very filling, especially with a side of bacon. After more hours of sitting in front of the computer, mixed with some housework, it's time for lunch. Today I felt like nibbling and didn't really have a ton of time to prepare a full-on meal, so I made a keto Lunchable. You can customize this with whatever you want to add to it. I like to add celery, olives. Instead of regular cheese, you could use dairy-free cheese. There's some really good ones made out of cashews. Sometimes I do pickles. It's just whatever can fit into these little tiny compartments. And I don't really always use this thing. I'm more of just like a hover over the refrigerator and just eat things straight out of the jar type of person. But today I thought we'd get fancy. I do recommend using a food scale though. This is the best way to tell how much that you're having without going over your carbs because those carbs can really add up fast, especially if you're counting total carbs. On days like today when I'm behind, I take my lunch upstairs and eat while I work. I used to work full-time as a pharmacist, but a few years ago I was able to quit my job and just focus on YouTube and this food blogging career. You might think that creators have such an easy job because how hard is it really just to put out like a video or a photograph of something? But there's so much behind the scenes stuff that goes into it, testing, planning, editing. It's just this never-ending to-do list that I always have. The evenings are usually occupied by kids' activities. Right now the boys are in soccer and football, so we usually don't have dinner until late. I like meals that I can prep and do most of the work before leaving to drive them to practice. That way I don't have to spend too much time cooking dinner when I get home. Flank steak is an excellent option for us because it's fairly inexpensive and it cooks quickly over high heat. I make a simple marinade of avocado oil, minced parsley, cilantro, stone ground mustard, red wine vinegar, garlic, and salt. Then brush that over the steak and let that sit in the refrigerator for a few hours while we head off to practice. When I get home, all I have to do is fire up the grill and grill it on high heat for 3 to 5 minutes or a bit longer on each side, just depends on the thickness. While it cooks, I make up some broccoli. Sometimes I do a carb option for the boys, like potatoes or rice, but not today, Satan. I'm too tired. If you want more easy keto meals like this, check out my 7-day meal plan that I release each month. You get a macro calculated menu plus a shopping list for $7 a month. The longer you subscribe, the more meals that you accumulate, which will help take the guesswork out of what you can eat so you can stay on track. Go to patreon.com/KetoFocus to sign up or click on the link in the description box.